Former President Donald Trump currently leads Joe Biden in the RCP aggregate by 2.1 percentage points, gaining ground on the incumbent in issues like the economy, inflation, and the border have led to him skyrocketing with African American voters, non college white educated voters, as well as Hispanic and some suburban voters in the recent months. Will Donald Trump be able to destroy Joe Biden in the 2024 election? The most recent On Point Politics election prediction model says so. Now, before we get started with the video, only 7% of you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell so you don't miss another video that I post. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Now, before we get started with today's map, I would like to mention that the On Point Politics logo has officially been added to the YapMS website. If you go to options and click chart logo, you can click On Point Politics, which is on alongside Let's Talk Elections, Ready Go Politics, and P Election HQ's logos. Now, you can click On Point Politics as a custom presetting in order to have the logo display in the left bottom corner of all your election predictions. Now, let's get into the map. And so, if you look at my 2024 presidential election prediction, I currently have the popular vote at plus 2.1, matching the RCP average. Got Biden's approval rating according to RCP and calculated the swing of the popular vote. The model takes into account the polling averages in every single state, which I have now gotten myself. I have redone all of the polling averages in all of these states, not using Ryan Guest EPO official averages anymore. I'm currently using my own now. If we look at the 2016 results, 2020, and it takes also into account the swing from 2020 as well, and takes into account Biden's approval rating, and we spit out these numbers. So, as for all of the red safe states, basically all of the states that Trump won by more than 12 points in 2020 are all basically going to be safe margins. All of them are going to be above 10-point victories at this point in time, including the states of Texas, Ohio, Iowa, and Florida, which are all almost 15 points or more. Texas is also joining this column of states as well. South Carolina is joining that bunch. Alaska is also joining that bunch, giving Trump 215 safe Electoral College votes. If you look at the safe Democratic states, states like Hawaii, California are going to be in the safe column, as well as Oregon and Washington. If you look at them, they are still over 10-point wins. Even the state of New York would be characterized as a safe state. New Jersey will no longer be characterized as a safe Democratic state, as if you do go down here, it is under the 10-point threshold, and so would Illinois fall under that 10-point margin. All of them, Nebraska would basically go safe far, including the second district in Maine. If we go to the first district in Maine, as of right now, it is a 20-point win for Biden. And that is pretty much it for all of Biden's safe states as of right now. If we go to some of the likely states, we can look in the state of Colorado. He's currently up by 11 points, which may be an overestimation because I also have him only winning New Mexico in the model by about 4 points as of right now. If you look at the state of Virginia and New Hampshire, they are all about the same margin, around a 4-point win for each candidate. Even if you look at the state of Minnesota, it is only a 2.5-point win for Biden on the national level, putting him at 223 Electoral College votes. And now, if you look at the Maine at large, he is currently sitting at 1.7% margin in the state as of right now. However, now if you go into some of the likely Republican states, you're going to see Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia are all going to be added into the likely Republican column, including the state of North Carolina, which is going to put Trump over that 270 electoral vote count. And the last few states to add in for Trump, which are all lean, no tilt states for Trump, you would have the Nebraska 2nd District be lean Trump, as well as Michigan and Pennsylvania, with Pennsylvania almost approaching a 5 point victory in the Electoral College. So currently, my model gives Donald Trump 313 Electoral College votes to Joe Biden's 225 Electoral College votes. Now, with this model, is there some room for error? Yes, absolutely. However, I have gone back and gotten the closest states in the 2020 election, test out the model. In some states, it was a little bit more accurate. In others, it wasn't necessarily as accurate as before, as it could have been. Some states it was off by a little bit, some states it was almost dead on. But I applied an adjuster, and the adjuster averages it out, and that adjuster is applied to this equation, and at the same time it is also applied to this equation as well, and this equation is taken into account a lot of errors that could possibly occur, and I had to recently adjust the model as well to fit electoral college trends. Currently, Biden's approval rating according to RCP is minus 15.1, and this is the map that we get from the model. It also gives me all the margins here too, which is pretty nice. However, the colors don't necessarily shift as well, because when the states shift a lot to the right, this just becomes lower. So really the colors don't really change on this. They're basically going to stay exactly the same. I basically redid the polling averages for a lot of the states because it had Wisconsin going for Trump at like 5 points, but still had New Hampshire being a likely margin for Biden, which I don't realistically see that. And so when I went back and I actually did my own polling averages, it was a lot better, and a lot of the state characterizations seem a little bit more accurate than beforehand. Now, what's going to drive this victory is Trump improving with African American voters, Hispanic voters, and really running it up with that white working class base. I do think that a lot of these characterizations could happen. I do think a likely Georgia could happen. I think a likely Wisconsin could happen. I think a likely North Carolina would happen. Arizona, on the other hand, I'm not really sure if it could hit likely territory, but Nevada could happen, lean Michigan and lean Pennsylvania could happen. All of these lean Democratic states seem like a fairly reasonable guess. And the second district of Nebraska, if Trump does win the popular vote by 2 points, I could possibly see him winning it there. Now, what's actually interesting is if you actually have Trump losing the popular vote by about a per like half a percentage point, he actually still wins the election pretty comfortably. He would actually win Wisconsin by 2.5 points, barely win Pennsylvania, barely win Arizona by like a point, win Nevada by 3, and win Georgia by like a point or so. Wins North Carolina by 5, wins Alaska by 9, wins wins Florida by 9 points, Iowa by 11, Ohio by 12, Texas by about 7 points. And currently, right now, if you were to theoretically apply this minus 23 approval rating to Biden, according to the NBC News poll, you could see that Trump still has a very comfortable lead. He could theoretically lose the popular vote by about 2.5 points in this poll and still actually manage to win the Electoral College for the most part. Well, I think in this scenario, he probably wouldn't, but maybe if he were to win the Electoral College, or at least lose the popular vote by 2 points, you could see him winning, because he would win Georgia, win Nevada, win Arizona, and win Wisconsin. So in this scenario, he could theoretically lose the popular vote by 2 percentage points and still win the Electoral College. Now, I did caution all Republicans to basically say, hey, I basically told everybody, I was like, guys, like, you got to be careful, because more than likely, if Trump were to win the popular or lose the popular vote by 4.5 points, like he did in 2020, I still think Biden would come out with an electoral college victory. So they would have to kind of be really careful about that, because that may end up being a problem. At best, Biden should probably, if Biden wins the popular vote by two or less, then more than likely Trump basically gets the electoral college in the bag. And right now, EPO official has the lead at about 1.9. Ready Go Politics kind of estimates a tied popular vote. PA Election HQ currently has Biden at about 313, 312 electoral college votes. I may actually start including some of those metrics and different averages, and I'm going to be updating this over time. And the way I do the model may even be updated. I might actually start doing it based on turnout metrics. Like what would happen is I would kind of get these same measurements and figure out how to do like an estimated turnout thing. And then from there, it would calculate the estimated vote share of each candidate. And then from there, it would actually spit out a margin, which probably will be more accurate. I mean, this may or may not still be pretty accurate, even if Biden only wins the popular vote by like half a point, which is what I think would happen. Trump still wins the election pretty comfortably. He wins Georgia, he gets Nevada, he gets Arizona, he gets Pennsylvania, and he barely loses Michigan, which I even think still, if you were to lose the popular vote by a half a point or even by like a point, I think he'd still win Michigan regardless. Because I think if you do apply that, 23 minus poll for Biden in the approval rating, according to NBC News, you could see that Trump still easily wins this election, absolutely no problem. Even if you were to give Trump that 5-point victory in the popular vote, which many people are suspecting that Trump could win the popular vote by double digits. If that NBC News poll that I covered in the last video, if that poll were to actually come to fruition, you would see Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, all these swing states be over, double digit victories. New Mexico would flip Republican, Virginia, New Hampshire would flip at this point. Illinois would even become a competitive state on the map. You'd see the Nebraska 2nd District go very easily. You'd see almost Oregon and Washington fall under that likely category as of right now. Maine at large would end up flipping to Trump. New Jersey would be in a competitive spot at this point in time. And so, really, you got to really look out there and see, based on polling, based on the vibe of things, what could really happen next cycle. But as of right now, my model does predict Trump winning the Electoral College by a pretty comfortable margin. As of right now, things could change. But as of right now, I do think Trump would win the Electoral College pretty easily. And my model also shows the same thing, which has been adjusted from any error from 2020 that I post, and I hope to see you guys very soon.